From ball one. And the Irish cricket legend that he is, he loved to be at the end of what has been a fantastic performance so far.
Whilst at the start of the day you might just have said, oh, just win. If they win pretty quickly here. Oh, through the hands. I'll get another couple. And yeah, I think net run rate, they might end up winning and topping the group. It's still possible.
This has been the story of the day, unfortunately. Opportunities and chances slipping through the grasp of the West Indies.
Most impressive today from Ireland has been the clarity of thought with regard to their planning, and continually we talk about how big this playing area is, and when you shift to one side or the other, lovely shot, you then have to try and execute in terms of protecting the small boundary and using the bigger boundaries. Whilst they bowled, they were excellent at doing that. And then, once they got ahead in the game, the experience of Sterling. Paul Sterling, 3,083 runs in T20 internationals. He is the 5th highest in T20 international history. Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Martin Guptill, Babar Azam, and Paul Sterling.
What a group to be a part of. He is their talisman. Those stats say it. This performance in the biggest game of their tournament so far for the year. You're expecting your big players to stand up. These fans would have expected the big players to stand up. And Paul Sterling has been a giant out on the park.
Finish with a 6? No, still careful. Worked by Tucker. A partnership with 69 from 53. I draw your attention to it because it is a partnership that's not necessarily gone too quickly, and yet they've rollicked away, have the Irish side, because of the start they got. So good.
I remember referencing Brandon King's 60-odd and how it's important to have that batter at the crease in the final phase of the game. Paul Sterling has done just that. Similar stats for Paul Sterling as they were for Brandon King. However, there's been little to no support around Brandon King to make what was a fine innings look even better and get the team to an unassailable score.
They've had to do it tough as well, Ireland. You lose your first one in a group of 4. Generally, you're thinking, oh, we're done for. And then, never mind that, in their second game, lose the toss and you've got to chase. And it looked like they were dead and buried. They come back and they've won that. Yes. Then come up against 2-time champions. And you must raise yourself even more, having kept yourself alive. And boy, did they raise themselves. It's been fabulous as a performance.
We talk a lot about planning in today's game. There's no end of education, video. Thoughts swirl around, 1 in 100. But to execute the plans that you've made beforehand is what Ireland has done so well in these last 2 games to put them in this position. And you watch Gareth Delaney, who probably has bowled 4 overs in total in the first 2 games, plays such an important role to the left-handers. I'm going to bowl full, slow and wide. I'm going to use my googly and ask you to hit it to the big side with no pace. And if you do that, well played. He got 3 for.
Yeah, I can't stress that point enough, Carlos. That's big, not just from Delaney. The spin group as a whole, the Irish spin group had not gone well. But today, coming up against the West Indies, they'd have spoken about it and said, that's the part of the side needs to stand up. As is the case with the top order, they'd struggled. Sterling, worst year for him in many, where we know that he delivers up at the top and guides the side, certainly gives them a start. Well, that's all come good under the pressure of win or bust.
And it's the caliber and the quality of Paul Sterling. We saw him cross paths at Villa, just having a chat, played with him at Warwickshire, and you always feel as though Paul Sterling is one innings away from a match-winning knock. 145 for one.
Be the one. Yeah, a few boos around. Come on, get on with it. We want to start celebrating, they're saying. For the West Indies, since the T20 World Cup final win in 2016, they have lost 6 out of 8 matches in T20 World Cups. It's a spiral. You were talking about Delaney, how good he was.
Slow, leg breaks, googlies to the left-handers, getting away as far as possible from them. Pooran and Evan Lewis making the same mistake, hitting to what was the biggest boundary. And then Rovman Powell, ill-advised, going across the line once again to the biggest boundary, but he's forced them to. He's asked the question, they've answered, and the answer's been wrong on 3 occasions.
Premature cheering, that was. But the scores are level. Just one more to get for Ireland. I said they could see the promised land. Well, they stand right on the edge now, and it's up to them to take the step. It's their 7th T20 World Cup, Ireland. Oh boy, and it's just the 2nd time that they'll go past the first round. There it is, the victory in fine style. Tucker chipping down the wicket, and away it goes for 4. Irish eyes are smiling, and they'll be smiling as this tournament goes on, because they go from round 1 to the Super 12s. They win here against the 2-time champions, the West Indies, by 9 wickets.